these fellas, I dare them challenge me with their somewhat primitive skills. They're just as good as dead.
Hey Bronc Nation, what's happening? Coach Slice here with a recap of how Howard Wood went. First of all, before we get into how the kids did, I just want to say that I'm pretty disappointed that there were several of our jumpers that didn't get in to compete at this meet. See, what changed is this year they decided to take the top 40 marks. Actually, it was the top 30 to start with, and then they changed it to top 40 marks. So you could still enter 3 kids in each event, but the committee selects the top 40 jumpers. I'm not going to be the coach to say that there's other coaches out there entering inaccurate marks to ensure that their kids get in to compete in this track meet. But I go over to the event, and there's 4 flights, and in the 4th flight, with the exception of the 4th flight, usually that's where the best jumpers are. The other 3 flights, I think I saw 2 marks that were over 20 feet. And I've got 2 boys that are 20-foot long jumpers. So on their average day, they would have, qualified for this track meet, because, I'm seeing marks of 17, 18 feet. And my kids that eclipse 20 feet can't get in. Even my 19-foot jumpers can't get in. It doesn't make sense to me. And the thing that really upsets me about this is that we've got several kids that are on the verge of open qualifying. And we need track meets like this with a big atmosphere to not only try to, push these kids and get them to excel and jump their best and open qualify, maybe set some PRs, but it's also the atmosphere is probably the most important thing, because that emulates what we're going to see at the state track meet, and it just really pisses me off that we couldn't get our kids in there. So. Now, that being said, Howard Wood usually is not a good meet for us. We since I've been here, we haven't really done that well. Even though last year, like with Shayla, we still won the long jump and the triple jump, but she didn't jump her best. Why I think it's important for us to be at this meet, and why I want all of our jumpers there, is because the atmosphere, the pressure is that's the most pressure that our kids are going to feel all year long leading up to state. So it's very crucial that we put ourselves into that atmosphere so we know what it feels like a month later when we're jumping at the state tournament. And I think that served us well in the past. Even though we haven't necessarily done well in the past, it serves its purpose, and that's why I wish I could have got our other jumpers in there, but so be it. The jumper that we have to highlight is Jackson Tyndall. Obviously, he jumped 42 feet 6.5. That's a half inch better than his best jump all time. He was just dialed in and ready to go. And, he looked good at pre-meet. He looked good in warm-ups. He was loose. He was having fun. And he went out there and jumped 42 several times. It wasn't just one big one. He hit it a couple times, and I was very happy with his performance. He got into the finals, and we ended up placing 7th. He was 6th going in, and then the jumper right before him hit a good one a couple inches farther than his that bumped him down to 7th. Here's a quick look at his 3 jumps in the finals. As you can see, he comes through the board really well. Probably could get a little better action with his arms, but really cranks up and hits that third face nice. Gets his arms up and reaches. As you can see right here, his steps are right on the board, cycles through nice, has a great second phase, hangs in the air, whips his arms back. Could probably get his knees up to his chest instead of directly under him, and we gotta fix those arms. And confirmation to me that he's doing well is when you hear other coaches talk about him. The following day, we heard some coaches talking about the Belfouche triple jumper and the fact that he was impressive. The other triple jumper we had in on the boys' side was Kelby Olsen, and this was kind of a weird deal because when we left for Sioux Falls, it did not look like that he had qualified. His name was not on the event list for the triple jump. It wasn't until after our pre-meet practice, and I believe we were in Mitchell, where Coach just checked the entries and saw that his name had slipped in there, so he ended up qualifying. So we weren't able to get him a pre-practice, and so he just kind of went out there. He looked good. He looked like he was feeling good. He was moving around well, and but just being hurled into that situation, it's tough to perform well, especially in this atmosphere. But the positive takeaway from this is we were able to get him in that atmosphere, and like we spoke about earlier, now he knows what it's going to feel like once we get him to that state track meet. So on the girls' side, we had Bella Jensen in there, and this one, I was beating myself up quite a bit about this one because I really wanted her to go and do well at this track meet. And leading up to this all week long, the weather had been an issue. We were trying to prepare for a JV meet, so I was trying to get my varsity kids in the mornings, but the JV meet ended up getting canceled because of the weather, and just it's just screwed up the rest of the week for us. And every day seemed really kind of chaotic and unorganized, and we were kind of scrambling to figure some things out before we left. And we ended up only getting one quality practice in, and there were some specifics that I wanted to work with her that I think would have helped her add quite a bit of distance onto her jumps right now. She's jumping well. She's just, if we clean some things up, especially on her landing, that's gonna, she's gonna PR, and she's gonna really get out there. And her average distances would have qualified her for the finals. Her average distances alone would have probably got her in there. So, I feel like we kind of missed an opportunity with her because there's no doubt she's talented enough, and I've seen her jump far enough before to she would have gotten into that the finals for triple, and probably would have gotten up on the podium, and that would have been really nice to get both a boy and a girl on the podium. But hey, at least we were in that environment. We felt the atmosphere, and that's the positive that we got to take away, and just keep moving forward, and get ready for conference, regions, and state. And lastly, I just want to say that one more thing about Jackson. Getting him on the podium is a big deal. Myself and the other coaches were talking, and we can't recollect a time or have heard of any male athlete going down to the Howard Wood meet and placing in an open event. It hasn't happened since I've been here. as long and triple jump, but I think in anything else, not that I'm remembering. If I'm forgetting somebody in the recent years, I'm sorry, but especially for long and triple, this hasn't happened. So this is a really big deal for us, for our program, and for the boys especially, coming out to the biggest meet of the year in the state of South Dakota and place. I mean, you got to understand that not only the majority of the schools in South Dakota are here, but there's schools from Minnesota, there's schools from Nebraska, North Dakota. There's schools from everywhere that come to this thing. So it's a really big deal. So anyway, I'm proud of him. I'm proud of our boys and the way they're coming in. Hopefully we could carry this momentum into conference, into regions, then into state. This wraps up another summary. See you at conference.
This video was brought to you by Brody.
I take all comers. I don't duck any man. Come one, come all, because nobody can get close to me. They're not even close. I'm the best fighter in the world.